The reason why you can't just relax and be yourself around other people is, first of all, because you judge yourself too much. Second of all, because you judge other people too much. And third of all, because you judge reality too much. And ultimately, the reason why you can't just relax and be yourself around others is because you have a judgmental mind. And hey, that's completely okay. I'm not judging you for having a judgmental mind. That's not a good or a bad thing. That is actually intelligent design. Your mind has been conditioned not only from your culture, but also from millions of years of evolution to sort reality into one of three categories. This person, place, or thing is good for me, is bad for me, or is completely neutral and I don't really care about it. This is completely normal. This actually aids your survival as an organism. As a human being, you need to know what objects and what parts of reality are good for you, will help you survive, like tasty food. This is good. If I eat tasty food, that's good. If there's a fire and my house is on fire, that's bad, right? And if I walk by a lamppost, that's neutral. I don't really care about that thing. So keeping in mind that judgment is always relative. There are no things in reality that are objectively good in a vacuum, because nothing in reality exists in a vacuum. If you want to call something good or bad, that's always relative to your subjective position. Now, the thing is that as we're growing up and as we're learning about ourselves, we're learning what parts of reality are good and bad, we start to get lost in our judgments. And our judgment actually becomes an ingrained habit that is so deeply ingrained in your subconscious mind that you can't stop judging yourself or other people or reality. It just happens automatically. And the problem with this is that this actually doesn't allow you to be free. This doesn't allow you to accept reality as it actually is. This causes you to always be fighting against the parts of reality that you've judged as being bad, and chasing after the parts of reality that you've judged as being good. And when you're judging reality as being good or bad, or when you're judging yourself as being good or bad, that prevents you from just being honest, from being authentic, from letting the truth shine through. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you how to stop judging yourself and how to unwire this deeply ingrained judgment habit. And this is going to help you so much. Just relax and be yourself around other people. You're going to have deeper and much more authentic connections with other people. This will help you express yourself creatively as well, because the biggest thing that stops artists is just they judge themselves from putting their art out. So this will help you creatively. This will also just help you be happy and just start to learn about what it means to be an authentic human being. Many people live their entire lives, 80 years, and only have little glimpses of what it truly means to be an authentic human being. So the practices that I'm going to be sharing with you are going to help you a lot with that. So how did I learn how to just relax and be my authentic self around other people? Well, it actually wasn't easy. When I was in elementary school, when I was very young, like maybe 10 years old, I was actually pretty good at expressing myself authentically and being funny and kind of just saying whatever was on my mind. But then when I got to around grade 7 or 8, when everyone started hitting puberty, I started to care a lot more about girls, about what girls thought of me, and then I started to really care about my social status. And this was when I started to act inauthentically. I started to say things that I thought were cool, but weren't authentic to me. And that caused people to kind of judge me. They kind of felt that I had some kind of inauthentic, needy energy. And then I would constantly be in my own head thinking like, is it cool to say this thing that I'm about to say? Should I say this or should I not say this? And I was just so stuck in my head that I wasn't able to just relax, be present in the moment, and just express myself authentically. Now, when I was in high school, I was very needy, a little bit inauthentic, and this girl that I was dating basically broke up with me, and that really hurt my feelings. That made me feel really bad. And I was actually so depressed. I felt like, what the hell's wrong with me? Like, why don't girls like me? And that is what caused me to start learning personal development. I started learning about dating advice, attraction advice. Then I stumbled upon self-actualization. And as I started working on that, I started self-reflecting and I started practicing daily meditation. And when I was socializing, I started becoming more aware of how judgmental I am of other people. And since I'm such a judgmental person, and since my mind is so judgy, like I judge what people wear, I judge how they stand, I judge how they talk, I judge what they say. I'm such a judgmental person. And when I started becoming aware of that, I was able to, first of all, just be aware and just say like, oh, wow, this is a lot. Like if I were to reveal to you how judgmental you are right now all at once, you'd probably just throw up because it is seriously a lot. So gradually over time with meditation and self-reflection, I started just catching myself judging people. Like when I'm walking down the street and I see someone walk by me that's overweight, I might judge them like, oh wow, what a fat ass. And then I would even fall into the trap of thinking, oh wow, I'm such a bad person for calling that person a fat ass. So now there's a judgment, and then there's a meta judgment where I'm judging myself for being judgmental. So with meditation, that allows me to kind of observe my thoughts neutrally and just be aware of what's going on up there, because most of this stuff just happens unconsciously on autopilot. So as I started being more aware, I gradually, over a few years, was able to just let go of my judgments, because when you become aware of something, it starts to kind of let go of itself, especially if it's something that's out of alignment. So if you don't want to keep judging people and you want to be more accepting and loving of yourself, of others, and of reality, then over time, as you just keep watching yourself judging reality over and over and over again, naturally, just with awareness, that will start to auto-correct itself over time. And that's exactly what happened to me, where now I feel like I'm not worried about myself all the time. And now I can actually listen to another human being. I can actually hold space for other people. I can actually be present in the moment when I'm in social situations, because I'm not always stuck in my head chattering about if what I said is cool or judging other people or wondering if I'm fitting in. I can just relax and just kind of allow myself to be myself. And that allows my life experience to be much more fulfilling. I can put myself out there here on social media and be myself and not worry about being judged. And it just makes me very happy and fulfilled. So let's break it down. How do you actually stop judging people? I got a couple steps here. Step one is to focus all of your energy on your own personal development. I realized when I was 16 years old that one of the main reasons that I couldn't authentically be myself is because subconsciously I felt like myself sucked. I had nothing to be proud of. I had nothing to be confident about. So many people say, oh, how do I be more confident? But wait a second, do you have anything to be confident about? And if you don't, that's okay, because your confidence is not about your position in life, but it's about your trajectory in life. The way you feel confident is not about where you are, but about where you're going. So, work on your self-actualization. Have a vision for your life. That's what I talk about a lot on this channel. Work on your meditation. Meditate every single day. Work on reading, expanding your mind, learning new perspectives, being open-minded to things that most people wouldn't even consider. Learning personal development, learning about psychology, learning about philosophy, learning about history, science, marketing, business, learning, growing, expanding your mind. That's such a key for your personal development. You should be reading or listening to audiobooks or listening to educational YouTube videos every single day. Also, just exercising, just pushing your body to its limit, that just helps boost your confidence. Socializing as well, putting yourself out of your comfort zone a little bit in social situations. And we're going to get into more about how to do that. But just like letting yourself be authentic and just say what's on your mind that normally you wouldn't say. Also, eating healthy, having a life purpose, knowing what you're passionate about and working on it every single day, having goals. Like even if you don't know what your passion is or what your life purpose is, at least have the life purpose of just becoming the best version of yourself and living the best possible life that a human being can, and then actually going out there and proactively educating yourself about how do I do that, right? Because it's one thing to say, I want to live the best life possible, but then it's another thing to actually go out there, buy some books on Amazon or whatever, go to the bookstore, start searching for new perspectives, and actually start being open to receiving new information of like, how do I be the best human being on earth? And believe it or not, the information that is out there will blow your mind how amazing it is. I'm going to make other videos about my favorite book recommendations, and I have done that in the past, but just keep learning, expanding your mind, and growing yourself. That'll make you feel more confident. Just that will make you feel like you can relax and be yourself around other people, because yourself is awesome. Right? So when you work on yourself, when you work on your insecurities, when you work on your meditation, your self-acceptance, then you're going to have a lot easier time just being yourself. And we're going to talk about how to do that next. So step 2, as you're working on your self-actualization and your personal development, start to watch your judgmental thoughts. Just be aware of your judgments. Whenever you say that something in reality is good, or something in reality is bad, or that you should do something, you should be like this. I should be a good boy. I should go to school. I should go to university. I shouldn't talk about politics at the dinner table. I shouldn't leave the bathroom without washing my hands. These kinds of moralizations, these are judgments of yourself. A lot of these have been baked deep into your psychological structure. They're deep in your subconscious mind. There are tons, millions of examples of you judging yourself, judging other people, judging the way you're talking, judging the way you're dressed, judging the way you're standing, judging how you look. Many people just hold in their stomach all day because they feel like they need to be skinny, right? A lot of women just keep their stomachs sucked in all day. A lot of men too keep their abs flexed. And this causes you to be very tense and tight. The root cause of this is judging yourself for the way you look, not accepting yourself, not letting go. So be aware of like, oh, I just judged. So you're walking down the street, you see a girl, you judge her for being fat. Just be aware. Stop. Be aware. Oh, I just judged. And that's okay. You don't have to meta judge. You just take an attitude of curiosity here. Like, oh, that's interesting that I just judged automatically without even realizing it. That's, interesting. And then just continue on with your day. And keep doing that. As you practice meditation, you'll gain more awareness of your thoughts, and this will happen more frequently. You'll start to be aware of these deep subconscious autopilot patterns that are secretly governing and running your entire life. You're going to start to be more aware of those patterns, many of which are toxic and dysfunctional, and prevent you from self-actualizing and living a happy life. So step 3, allow yourself to be shamelessly yourself. Now, shame has a very interesting function in society. Shame is actually very useful because it prevents people from like murdering children or, taking their genitals out in public and, helicoptering their dick around in the grocery store. Because we experience shame. Shame actually is kind of like, in a weird way, the glue that keeps a lot of our social norms and customs together, that kind of helps society run smoothly. So shame has that interesting function. However, in many cases, shame in your own psyche starts to cause you to behave in many inauthentic ways. And in many cases, you have shame for things that you actually don't need to be ashamed about. Like, for example, one time I did an LSD trip and I was self-reflecting, and these psychedelic trips, since your awareness is shot up through the roof, now you're aware of all of your subconscious bullshit that's in your psyche. And while I was tripping, I became aware of this deep shame that was just buried deeply in my subconscious mind, and it came up in the form of a memory of when I was like 6 years old. I went to the principal's office because I got in trouble for punching some kid in the head. And when I was sitting in the principal's office, I was like a little 6-year-old kid, the teachers and principals would just make me feel like I was such a bad boy. They'd tell me, very, very bad. No, very, very bad. Right? And I think that's normal. That's part of the socialization process. The kid needs to know what to do and what not to do, what behavior is acceptable by society and what behavior is not acceptable by society. But then the problem is a lot of this behavior gets kind of bottled up inside you as shame and guilt, where I actually thought that I was a bad boy. I actually thought that like something was fundamentally wrong with me as a person. And that deep fundamental belief prevented me from being free and authentic in social interactions. I have a full trip report of that LSD trip. It was very profound. It's an older video. Click it up there if you're interested. But when I became aware and I kind of shone the light on my shadow, when I was became aware of the parts of myself that I'm ashamed of, then that allowed me to be more fully myself. So a great exercise for dealing with pockets of shame that are trapped in your body as tension and also in your psyche, a great exercise is to take a piece of paper and just write down a lot of the things that you're the most deeply ashamed of in your life. This is going to be a very personal exercise. This might bring up some old emotions. That's okay. We're just going to be very loving and compassionate with ourselves. We're going to let ourselves feel those emotions be very accepting. Like when I did this exercise, I remember I wrote down when I was younger, I was a little bit of a bully to my younger brother, and I just feel really ashamed of that. Like, I think a lot of older brothers kind of bully, their younger siblings. And that was something that made me feel very ashamed. So that's something I wrote down on my paper, and I really felt those emotions. And it made me feel sad and like bad. Like it's something that I wanted to hide. So shame is something you always want to hide, and that makes you feel inauthentic. On the vibrational scale of consciousness, shame is actually a very, very low vibration. So if you have pockets of shame that are held in your psyche, that actually lowers your overall vibration a lot. Because shame is such a low vibration, embarrassment, hiding, wanting to hide, wanting to bury your head in your hands and make sure you don't want anybody to see you. You don't want to be seen. That's shame in your psyche. It's okay. A lot of us absorb that in our life or maybe in past lives. Write it down on a piece of paper. Feel it. Really look at it. Like really let yourself look at this shame. And just look at these actions that you've done in the past that you're ashamed of. And process those emotions, feel them. I remember once I went to the park, right? Because after you feel your emotions, writing them down, then after the next step is to take a lighter and burn the paper and just kind of let it go, basically. And you only have to do this exercise one time. You don't have to keep doing this exercise over and over again. You just do it once. Write everything you're ashamed about, feel it, feel it, feel it. Make amends if you have to. Maybe if something you're really ashamed about, like something that you've done that you really can't forgive yourself for, then do something to make amends, right? Whatever would feel like, ask yourself, what would make this right? And then actually do that thing to make it right. So for me, with, the thing with my brother, for me, it was just to spend a day with him and just hang out and, just whatever, just shoot the shit. So that's what I did, and that made me feel better about that situation. But funny, back to the vibration of shame, it's something you always want to hide, you want to keep in the dark. I remember I was at the park, and I had this paper with all the things that I'm ashamed of written on it. And I remember somebody walked by me, and I remember subconsciously, I kind of turned the paper away from the person. Like I didn't want, just in case the person saw what was written on the paper, I didn't want him to see. So as this random person walked by me, I kind of folded the paper and, kind of like turned it away so that nobody would see. And that was very, very interesting for me to observe, because that's exactly the vibration of shame. It's these things you don't want other people to see. You don't want yourself to see. And that prevents you from just relaxing and being yourself around other people. So we accept these things, we make amends, and then we just burn it and let it go. All right? That'll actually let you just shamelessly be yourself. And really, the way that I learned how to shamelessly be myself, and the way I learned how to shamelessly be myself in public situations was just to have meta-awareness, be aware of my body, my feelings, and my thoughts, and just feel when I feel socially awkward and be okay with that. So I want you to be okay with the feeling of being socially awkward. It's okay to be socially awkward. That's all right. In fact, I want you to put yourself in more situations that make you feel socially awkward and just be there and just be awkward. That's all right. Don't be awkward about being awkward. Just if you accept the awkwardness, it starts to dissolve. Isn't that so counterintuitive? You'd think like, oh, awkward is bad, so I want to get rid of it. But no, don't try to get rid of it. Accept it, let it be there, and then it will get rid of itself. Interesting. Even when you're talking to a girl, for example, let's say you approach a girl on the street, Maybe you're a girl listening to this video, a guy approaches you and you feel a little bit awkward. It's okay to be awkward. If you're awkward but you're okay about being a little bit awkward, then a lot of times the other person will be okay with you being awkward as well, because other people mirror your energy. So if you're awkward but you're okay with it, then other people will be okay with it as well. So just start to radically accept yourself, and I want you to realize in your mind, this is something I had to realize, that there is no such thing as something that is cool. There is no cool thing to do. The only thing that's cool is being authentic and just being yourself. So there is no cool and not cool. There's only authentic and inauthentic. So just let yourself say the things that come up on your mind. Just be yourself. Slow down a little bit. Be open to listening to other people as well. You don't have to talk all the time. Sometimes the most authentic thing to do is just not to talk and just to listen compassionately. So don't worry about being cool. Just be yourself. And step 4 is to let other people judge you. This is counterintuitive as well. So some people might say, Adam, yeah, but whenever I be myself, other people judge me. I can just feel it off of them. I can tell by their tone of voice. I can tell by the way they look at me that they're judging me. They have their nose up in the sky to me. Yeah, so step 4 is just to let that be. That's okay. Other people can judge you. They're allowed to. They can do that. That's their choice. Don't judge other people for judging you. The best revenge is not to be like that. That's a quote by Marcus Aurelius. Another quote by Marcus Aurelius that completely changed my mind about being judged by other people. I read this when I was in grade 11 and I was getting into self-actualization. Peer into their minds and see the judges that you're so afraid of, and see how judiciously they judge themselves. So when you feel that another person is judging you for being yourself, that's okay, because actually you should be compassionate for them and say, this other person is judging me, but that's their judgment of themselves. They are so judgmental of me that now they are not able to authentically be themselves. So the judgment kind of comes back around and sticks to them. Like, I'm like rubber, you're like glue. Your judgments bounce off of me and stick to you. That's exactly how judgment works. Whenever you judge another part of reality, you're actually judging yourself. Because be aware that when you judge someone, let's say for walking barefoot on the grass, you say, oh, look at that hippie. Now you're not free to do that. Because when you do it, you're going to judge yourself for being a hippie. So judgments of others is always self-judgment, always. And be compassionate of that. If someone else judges you, that's okay. Just let it be. Okay, you judge me. All right, that's fine. You're allowed to judge me if you want to. I don't judge myself, and I don't judge you for judging me. So it's all good. And you just continue on with your life. Step 5 is to just wake up and be free. Just now that you're free, now that you follow these steps, you practice your own personal development and self-actualization, and you focus all your energy on that. You watch your judgments neutrally. You're aware of where judgment comes from and why it's actually a good thing for survival, but is not a good thing when it comes to self-actualizing and moving into being consciousness. Self-actualization is about moving out of survival consciousness into being consciousness, which I have a whole 2-hour video about explaining in detail exactly what that means. That's what we're doing here. Being judgmental of reality is about being in a survival state of consciousness, a low state of consciousness, a needy state of consciousness, an egotistical, selfish state of consciousness. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. That's a part of reality too. And that's exactly what someone from being cognition would say, where we just accept reality and we're open to understanding reality. I just want to understand reality. I don't want to judge reality for being good or bad. I don't care if it's good or bad. I just want to know how it works. I want to see clearly. I want to be neutral. I want to see reality as it is. From God's perspective, you could say, from a meta perspective. I don't want to see it from my selfish perspective. I want to see it from the neutral, objective perspective, which is ultimate subjectivity, but that's a metaphysical point, which we'll get into in another video. Step 3, radically accept reality and radically accept yourself, even the parts of yourself that you're ashamed of. Step 4, let other people judge you. And that's okay. Just accept them for judging you. And step 5 is just wake up and be free. So that was how to relax and be yourself around other people. If you want some help with your meditation practice, if you don't really know where to start, I have a free meditation guide that you can get at the link in the description. That meditation guide, it teaches you everything that I know about Vipassana meditation, which really helps you to raise your awareness, to be aware of your thoughts. We use mindfulness with labeling. It took me many years of practice to learn how to do that properly. So that training will kind of show you everything that you need to know about how to sit properly, how to have the proper posture, what to do when you're all distracted. And then I even guide you through a Vipassana meditation as well. So you can get that for free at the link in the description. And I hope you enjoyed this video. These videos on this channel are a little bit long. And I really honestly intended this to be like a 30-minute video. But naturally, as I'm talking, I find myself just going off into tangents. But I also found that a lot of times the tangents are the most fun and insightful part of the video, and I can't plan the tangent beforehand. So the video ends up being a little bit long. And it's not because I'm not respecting your time, it's because I actually realize these ideas are so profound and so important that I just get so excited to share them in the video. And for example, when I'm talking about how to stop judging reality, like another thing I forgot to mention, like if you want to stop judging reality, ask yourself, where do my judgments come from? What is the source of my judgments? Why am I judging right now? Where did this come from? Maybe from my mom, maybe from my dad, maybe from my culture, maybe from the church. Where did this judgment come from? And then you can go even deeper to like a survival level. Like, why am I judging this part of reality? Right? So you can question these judgments, observe them and dive into them. Be curious about them. We're understanding your own psychology directly. That's what I help you do here on this channel. I help you to master your psychology on a very, very, very deep level, on the existential level, because that's what I'm interested in. I'm interested in deconstructing all of reality just to understand how it works. That's what I am most passionate about, is just understanding the beauty and intelligent design of reality on the psychological level, but even on the biological level, on the physical level as well, like atoms and molecules, on the spiritual, meta-esoteric level. I just want to have a full, complete, deep understanding of absolute infinity, which is what reality is, and I'm guiding you towards that on this channel. So if that's something you're interested in, if you're interested in having the deepest, most comprehensive, and beautiful understanding of reality that is humanly possible, that's what I want for myself, so that's what I'm guiding you towards here on this channel. I make videos every single week where we break down these kinds of topics. If you're interested, subscribe and stay tuned. Share this video with a friend. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.